So I'm curious to know, do you have an awareness of when you kind of learned about the ADA? What's your interaction with the ADA today?
I was pretty young when the ADA was signed. So, as far back as I can effectively remember, the ADA's just kind of always been around. It's always been part of the ecosystem. It's been one of the million laws that exist that, every now and then I'd kind of hear about. It's always been, in the background. So I remember when I was in like sixth grade or something, I think it was the one time I actually learned about ADA. I have this specific image in my head of it being a single paragraph almost at the very end of like a civics textbook or something, that just mentioned that the ADA was signed and there was a picture of a person in a wheelchair. And that was basically it. So,
Mm.
my exposure to ADA didn't really start happening until relatively recently. What's funny is my first real appreciation for the ADA was when I was not in the US. I was traveling in Europe, at a country that will remain nameless, and trying to get around with a kid in just a basic small stroller, and realizing there are no curb cuts and
Mhm.
there's no ramps and there's very few elevators, and constantly having to pick up the stroller to go over gaps or go upstairs, go downstairs, things like that. And that was the first time I really had an appreciation for, oh, this is why the ADA exists. Because how could someone in a wheelchair with some sort of mobility issue possibly get around in a place like this without some of those basic things that I just, expect in the US, right?